The first part of the program stakeholder engagement performance domain is to identify the program stakeholders. Program stakeholder identification aims to systematically identify all key stakeholders in the stakeholder register. So the key output of the stakeholders identification activity will be developing the stakeholder register. This register lists the stakeholders and categorizes the relationship to the program, their ability to influence the program outcome, their degree of support for the program, and other characteristics or attributes the program manager feels could influence the stakeholders' perception and the program's outcomes. So this is the information that should exist in a stakeholder register as a minimum. However, you can add a lot of other attributes as relevant from the program manager perspective. At the minimum, this register will include the list of stakeholders, their ability to influence, their level of power, their level of interest, communication details with the stakeholders, their roles, etc. This depends on the form or the template the organization is using and the program manager opinion. Table below provides an example of stakeholder categorization within a program. So you can think about this table as part of the stakeholder register, which you can use in your program. Here is the name of the stakeholders, stakeholder 1, 2, and 3, the organizational position of each stakeholder, what is the role within the program, supplier or sponsor, what is the support level desired from this stakeholder, what is the level of influence, what is the communication method, and other characteristics as relevant. So this is the stakeholder register, which is an important artifact that will be an output of the stakeholder identification activities. The stakeholder register should be established and maintained in such a way that members of the program team can reference it easily for use in reporting, distributing program deliverables, and providing formal and informal communication. So when it comes to stakeholders, their preferred communication method, their communication or contact details, the program team will use this stakeholder register as a reference throughout the program duration. It should be noted that the stakeholder register may contain politically and legally sensitive information and may have access and review restrictions placed on it by the program manager. So as a result of this, it may be appropriate to ensure that the stakeholder register is appropriately secured. So whenever a stakeholder register contains politically and legally sensitive information, the program manager should be careful in exposing this information. The program manager should comply with data privacy regulations in countries where the program operates. The stakeholder register is a dynamic and live document. As the program evolves, new stakeholders may emerge or interests of current groups or stakeholders may shift. The program manager should monitor the environment and prepare and update the register as required. So it's not a one-time process to develop the stakeholder register. You need to maintain this stakeholder up to date throughout the program duration. Now here are examples of key program stakeholders. However, the list can be much more, but this only represents an example of the key program stakeholders. Starting with the program sponsor, an individual or a group that provides resources and support for the program and is accountable for enabling the program success. Usually the program sponsor is the champion of the program and he or she is a key stakeholder for the program. We talked about this role earlier in this course. The program steering committee, a term which we will use a lot in the governance part of this course, the following section, a group of participants representing various program related interests with the purpose of supporting the program under its authority by providing guidance, endorsements, and approvals through the governance practices. This committee may be referred to as the Program Governance Board. So Program Steering Committee or Program Governance Board, a group of participants that are there for providing guidance, endorsements, and approvals for the program as per the governance practices. Portfolio manager is a key stakeholder, the person or group assigned by the performing organization to establish, balance, monitor, and control portfolio components in order to achieve strategic business objectives. So if your program is part of a portfolio in the organization, the portfolio manager is a key stakeholder as well. Program manager, the individual authorized by the performing organization to lead the team or teams responsible for achieving program objectives, also a key stakeholder, especially for subsidiary programs within the sponsoring program. Project manager, who can be defined as the person assigned by the performing organization to lead the team that is responsible for achieving the project objectives. Program team members, the individuals performing program activities. If there is a large number of program and project team members, we can record only the key ones in the stakeholder register. Project team members are individuals performing constituent project activities. Funding organization, the part of the organization or the external organization providing funding for the program, especially if it's external to the organization, like a bank or something. Funding organization is a key stakeholder. Performing organization, the organization whose personnel are the most directly involved in doing the work of the project or the program, which is the organization responsible for the program itself. Program management office, a management structure that standardizes the program-related governance processes and facilitates the sharing of resources, methodologies, tools, and techniques. If there is a program management office in your organization, so this office is a key stakeholder. Customers, who are individuals or organizations that will use the new capabilities, benefits, and outcomes that will be delivered by the program and derive the anticipated benefits. The customer is a major stakeholder in the program's final result and will influence whether the program is judged to be successful or not. So key customers are key stakeholders and should be documented in the stakeholder register for further analysis. Potential customers, the past and future customers who will be watching intently to see how well the program delivers the stated benefits. So customers and potential customers should be documented in the stakeholder register. Suppliers of your program, product and service providers who are often affected by changing policies and procedures within the program. If there are any regulatory agencies, a regulatory agency is a public authority or governmental agency responsible for setting and managing the regulatory and legal boundaries of their local and national governments. Typically, these organizations will set mandatory standards or requirements which our programs should comply with. Affected individuals or organizations, those who perceive that they will either benefit from or be disadvantaged by the program's activities, and any relevant other groups can be key stakeholders, groups representing consumer, environmental, or other interests. Organizational support functions such as human resources, legal, administration, and infrastructure are also considered key stakeholders. If I'm using resources for my program from the infrastructure department, so definitely the infrastructure director or department head should be documented as a key stakeholder in the stakeholder register. So the key output of the stakeholder identification activities is having the stakeholder register.